Recent reports indicate that ongoing trade negotiations between the United States and India may have encountered an unexpected diplomatic complication. According to statements from Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, the timing of high-level communications between the two nations has become a factor in the discussion. Here's what we know about this developing situation and what it means for U.S. India economic relations. The United States and India have been working toward a comprehensive trade agreement for several years. Both nations represent major global economies, with the U.S. being India's largest trading partner and India ranking among America's top trade relationships. According to U.S. Census Bureau data, bilateral trade between the two countries exceeded $190 billion in recent years. Trade discussions have historically covered multiple sectors, including technology, pharmaceuticals, agriculture, and manufacturing. Both governments have expressed interest in strengthening economic ties, though negotiations have involved complex considerations around tariffs, market access, and regulatory standards. The relationship between Washington and New Delhi extends beyond commerce, encompassing defense cooperation, technology partnerships, and strategic alignment in the Indo-Pacific region. Economic agreements are often viewed as part of this broader partnership. According to public statements made by Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, the current administration expected a phone call between President Trump and Prime Minister Narendra Modi that has not yet occurred. Lutnick indicated that this communication gap has contributed to delays in finalizing trade arrangements. "We were waiting for Modi to call Trump," Lutnick stated during recent remarks, suggesting that the absence of this direct leader-to-leader conversation has been a factor in the negotiation timeline. It's worth noting that diplomatic protocols around such calls can be complex. High-level communications between heads of state typically involve careful coordination between diplomatic teams, consideration of scheduling, and attention to the substance of discussions. Neither the Indian government nor the White House has provided detailed public comment on the specific timeline or reasons for any delay in direct communication between the two leaders. Diplomatic sources have noted that both nations remain engaged through established channels. Trade negotiations between major economies routinely involve multiple levels of discussion, from working-level technical teams to cabinet officials to heads of state. The final stages of significant agreements often require direct engagement from top leadership to resolve remaining issues. Secretary Lutnick's comments represent the U.S. administration's perspective on the negotiation process. The Commerce Department has emphasized the administration's interest in reaching mutually beneficial trade arrangements with key partners, including India. Indian officials have historically expressed commitment to strengthening economic ties with the United States while protecting domestic interests in sensitive sectors. India's approach to trade negotiations has typically involved careful consideration of impacts on local industries and employment. Both governments have publicly stated their desire for stronger bilateral economic relationships. However, as with any complex international negotiation, differences in priorities and timelines can affect the pace of discussions. Analysts who follow U.S.-India relations note that diplomatic dynamics, including the frequency and timing of leader-level communications, can influence the momentum of negotiations. Though many factors contribute to outcomes, the status of U.S.-India trade discussions has implications for businesses, workers, and consumers in both countries. A comprehensive trade agreement could affect market access for American exporters, pricing for imported goods, and employment in various sectors. For the technology industry, which has significant operations in both nations, trade terms influence investment decisions and supply chain planning. Agricultural producers in both countries also watch these negotiations closely, as market access represents significant economic opportunity. Beyond economic considerations, the U.S.-India relationship carries strategic importance. Both nations have identified each other as key partners in addressing regional and global challenges. Economic agreements are often viewed as strengthening overall bilateral ties. Public records show that trade policy has become an area of significant attention in the current administration, with officials emphasizing renegotiation of existing arrangements and pursuit of what they describe as more balanced terms. As negotiations continue, observers will be watching for signs of progress in both diplomatic engagement and technical discussions. The path forward will likely depend on multiple factors, including the substance of remaining disagreements, domestic political considerations in both countries, and the evolution of the broader bilateral relationship. We'll continue monitoring developments in U.S.-India trade discussions and provide updates as more information becomes available from official sources.